open the Town of Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting for November 20th, 2024. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. First order of business is the minutes from 10:16. Did you receive any changes, edits?
I did not receive any changes to the 10:16 minutes.
Did anybody have anything to note now? Okay, in that case, I move to approve the minutes from 10:16. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, on to public hearings. Our first agenda item, 829A Old Main Street, will be continued to January. We will vote on the continuations at the end. So next up is Town of Marshfield, DPW, Old Plain Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, November 20th, to consider the request for determination of applicability filed by the Town of Marshfield Department of Public Works, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Malafronte.
Mike, this is a utility improvement. There's no administrative taxes or what?
Yeah, exactly. No butters. It's a RDA. No taxes. It's a town project.
Okay. Is someone here from DPW?
Yeah, I see Matt Kinlan on. Matt, would you like to go through this project?
Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm not sure if I'm getting my video coming through. But yes, this is a proposed water main replacement. So there is currently a failed water main. It's supposed to connect the high zone and the low zones of the town's water system. And the water main failed and needs to be replaced. It's an old cast iron line, so we're proposing to go in there and replace the water main. We have to go underneath the cross culvert. We're proposing to do that directional drilling instead of digging big trenches. We're going to directional drill underneath that culvert, pull our pipe through. That way we're not disturbing as much, and it should go in easier. There's Parsons Pond over to the north, and it outlets through that cross culvert and into the Furnace Brook. So that is where we're crossing underneath. It's completely it's a concrete box culvert, so we wouldn't be touching that at all. We'd be going right under it.
Thank you. I took a look at the plans and the whole proposed project. It's entirely within the limits of the right-of-way and in the limits of the pavement. As the gentleman from DPW explained, the area of, I guess, our jurisdiction and concern is the Parsons Pond to Furnace Brook culvert. They're drilling beneath the box culvert, so there's no impacts to the stream bed or stream but it is within the riverfront area and 100-foot BBW as well. Mike, do you have any further comments, or is that?
Yeah, the current main is a 6-inch diameter cast iron pipe. The pipe has kind of reached the end of its usable lifespan. So this is a good alternative than digging up the road, disturbing lots of soils in this type of environment, and by doing the horizontal drilling, I believe that a lot of the impacts will be negated.
Yep, and then just for everyone's record, there's silt stock proposed on either side of the right-of-way during the excavation. And Mike, do you have any conditions for this
Yeah, I would suggest the following. Ensure best management practices are followed before commencing the work. Obtain all pertinent permits. To see the conservation administrator or agent for guidance on work beyond this approved work activity, and to ensure erosion controls in place throughout construction.
Okay. Does anyone on the commission have any comments or questions? All right, I'll make a motion to issue a determination of applicability with a +5 and a -2. Can I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I also, I just wanna say one other thing. I saw that you had continuations for the drainage ditch maintenance, NOI that I had put in about a month ago and we've had to push back. I mean, I think, I saw we were pushing it to next date, but I think there's some other permitting that needs to be done, so if you guys wanna push that back further, that's fine with me.
We can push it into next year.
Yeah, that would be
Maybe,
great.
maybe the second meeting in January, do you think? Or do you want even more time?
We can shoot for the second week in January. That would give me some time
Some
and
time.
hopefully give me a little push to get this thing out. I'm just working with the DEP on what we need to do as far as additional permitting for that, so.
Well, we'll push it to the second meeting in January, and if you need more time, we'll, push it again. But, yeah, they'll take it off the plate for a while.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
You too. Okay, 11 Ice House Lane. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, to consider the after-the-fact notice of intent filed by Robert Clements of 11 Ice House Lane, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Lake.
Mike, have all administrative requirements been met?
Yes, all administrative requirements have been met.
Yeah, good evening, Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor. So yes, this, presenting tonight a proposed planting and restoration for this area. My understanding is that the applicant had earlier permission to do some invasive clearing on the site. And we got involved with the biologist who prepared this planting plan, Pine Brook Consulting. Needed a site plan put together. So we added her plants. You can see the planting key. We have 6 blueberries and 5 chokeberries and 5 sweet pepper bush, and also a conservation seed mix proposed beyond the 20, between the resource and the 25. Also had shown 3 proposed conservation markers along the 25-foot to restore this area. I believe we provided Brooks' report, which has some information about inspections and time of year stuff, seasonal inspections going forward. So that's what we're proposing, is put up some markers, prepare these plantings and put them in the ground and put down the seed mix to kind of try and restore that area that was worked a little bit harder than maybe it was proposed to.
A little bit?
I wasn't involved. I see it's lawn basically now. I don't know what it looked like before, to be honest. So,
Pretty.
that's what the biologist had prepared, yeah. Nice lawn down to the marsh, it looks like. So that's what, it's my knowledge of it, is the planting, and certainly do my best to work with the commission to get through this.
Mike?
Hello. So there were originally 3 conservation markers at the top of this ridge here, roughly on the 50-foot setback.
I think there were 4.
Oh, there were 4. Let me, I have the previous site plan here. Let me reference that. Yes, it does appear that there were 4. Yep. along the back there on the 50-foot setback. With the, somebody took these markers out, the split rail fence out, went well beyond the scope to reestablish that lawn back to almost the wetland line. It's now proposed that the markers would be set on the 25 instead of the 50, and the planting's only done between the 0 to 25. I believe that per the last the last permit that required these markers to be placed on the 50, they should be placed on the 50 again, and anything behind there should be revegetated with native species. And this is the de minimis activity permit from 2021 that limited vegetative maintenance to invasive vines. So you can see that much more than just vines were taken from that lot.
So, Mike, so the 50 would be right where that, the large tree is? Is that?
Yeah,
that's
it's
the line
roughly
with-
at the top. I don't know if you can tell from this picture, but there's a
looks
bit
like
of an incline from the
little
lower
incline, yeah.
yard to the upper one.
Right where those two trees are standing would be
Yep.
the 50?
Yeah, so roughly at the end of this patio and where that big tree is would
Yep.
be the location of that 50-foot setback, roughly.
And you can see it on the site plan too, John.
Yeah.
That 50-foot and that tree
Yeah,
is
that's what I
shown
just
from
wanted to confirm
survey,
that, yep.
recent survey.
Is there anyone in the public who has any comments? Any commissioners have any comments?
I am in agreement with Mike that it needs to come back to the 50-foot. I find it disturbing that the conservation markers were removed. It was pretty clear that that was the line, and I think we need to go back to the 50 with the markers and a much more, robust plan up to the 50.
That was my thinking as well. I mean, had the owner come and applied for permitting for this, definitely would not have been granted. And the fact that the conservation markers, which we see existed at one time, were ignored is, that's kind of egregious. But I agree with Craig. I think bringing back the markers to the 50-foot and restoration of that whole area. And I'd like to see a new plan. with
Sure.
that.
Yep.
I agree.
Yeah, no, I think that, I'll be honest, I put those markers on the 25, just thinking of what we do. Should have probably gotten that plan from Mike to see I didn't realize there were ones there already, to be honest. So I put them there just thinking on what we know sometimes
Right.
do.
Since there was no trace
The
of the 50.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's the whole thing of after 2000, then they have to be on the 50.
right, yep, yep. Okay.
So did the current planting plan propose keep the lawn, or was it going to take up the lawn?
Keep the lawn to the 25.
Okay, so we're saying the lawn goes to the 50.
Subdivision.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, what you see in the picture there would remain, and then it would be removed at the slope there, where you just asked about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there is lawn
Yeah.
where those two trees are, and then after that is no more lawn. Yeah,
Right.
okay, that's,
So all of the lawn would be removed? And
Up to the slope, to the 50.
then,
A conservation mix put in?
Well, it would be, they can plant into what's there now, but that needs to be revegetated with native plantings. And I would say that, her planting plan is mostly shrubs. I think it might be beneficial to have a couple cedars in there or some more substantial trees.
Okay.
I think I may have saw a couple sprinkler heads. Did you see those, Mike?
I didn't note sprinkler heads, but I
Okay.
could definitely revisit the site and take a look.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good look.
It did appear like there was
I
a
was going to
layer.
say, you don't have a lawn like that
Without water.
typically without irrigation.
It did appear like some loam was brought into that area as well. It didn't appear to be a significant amount, but it's hard to tell because it's been seeded and is established.
I think it'd be more trouble than it was worth to try to remove loam.
I agree. I would say just
Plantings and
plant in the now lawn. But
So should we wait to see the new plan before?
well, yeah, get a new plan,
Yep.
and confirm if there's an irrigation system. Then figure out what to do if there is.
Yeah, okay.
Might be good for the plantings.
I can work with the biologist, review what we talked about tonight, more trees, more
Right.
stuff.
Some more trees and,
This-
yeah, and at least doubling this because we've got to fill another
Yeah.
25 feet now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll revise the plan. I mean, I can check into that irrigation system also. So I didn't notice it, but I wasn't looking for it either. But like you said, you'd mentioned if it were there, that it might be beneficial.
Right, I mean,
We change the heads if they need to.
yeah, they'd have to work around it, but one of the difficulties when you're trying to restore this can be getting water.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, it could help with establishing the,
yeah, and not make them, take it all out.
Okay.
this is such a crazy year. I don't know, when do you think plantings could start?
Not before spring,
Right.
definitely. We're really at the end of the growing season anyway, and even if it stays weirdly warm,
Yeah.
it's late. So I would definitely say spring planting.
would we wait to vote till we see the new plan, or what?
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
move to continue.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to continue this hearing. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Hey, thanks,
Get that
Rick.
done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. 280 Canal Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, November 20th, 2024, to consider the notice of intent filed by Doug Francoeur for 280 Canal Street, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Platt.
All right, Mike, have abutters been notified and taxes and fees met?
Yes, administrative requirements have been met. To my knowledge, there's not been a DEP number issued at this time
Oh, okay.
from the state.
So all right, the one that we had on there was incorrect then, okay. All right, and you are here to present?
How you doing? Joe Webby from Webby Engineering, here with the applicant, Doug Francoeur. We're here at 280 Canal Street, where the plan is to, there's an existing house there that's fallen into disrepair. We're planning on demolishing that house, proposing another dwelling, basically further up away from the marsh, trying, the best that we can to improve the conditions, on the site. Obviously, there's salt marsh all around it, and we're in a flood zone as well. So the idea here is to basically try to, once we rebuild there, basically enhance the area the best we can with some plantings and keep it as natural as possible. And just to keep things as low profile as we can. It's basically a slab-on-grade construction. There'll be flood vents installed on basically a walkout basement, and then the first floor is going to be elevated up above the flood zone. Above, we're proposing a deck in the back that's basically going to be open. So it's sonotubes and posts, but it's basically going to be open air underneath it. And that is about it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I went out to the site,
Yeah.
right up against the marsh there. So it is located in the buffer zone to the salt marsh, in the proposed works in land subject to coastal storm flowage. It's in a flood zone AE 10, and then also portions of the lot are within the outer, riparian zone of the Cut River there, but none of the work proposed is actually in that
Correct.
area. Mike, did you have any comments?
Yes, so currently the existing structure, as you can see here, pretty much touches the wetlands. They're proposing to move it back towards the center of the site and add this proposed deck here. You can see the sonotubes noted. There'd be 5 sonotubes along this area within proximity to the marsh. Ultimately moving the concrete foundation closer up towards the middle of the lot in more of an upland type environment. The current house there is in a state of disrepair. I don't know if anybody who visited the site noted the foundation, but
Yeah,
it's
crumbling.
yeah, it's crumbling. Let's see. I believe that's it.
Yeah, and then native plantings between around the deck up towards the wetland line there. And then you also suggested adding some conservation markers at that line as well. Okay. Any commissioners have any comments on this?
I know you're gonna remove all the trees that are currently
Yeah.
there. Can
yeah.
you not save either of those cedars in the
Cedars
front?
on the,
Yeah, I mean, I know that one of them there, if we look at the existing, I think it's right in the middle of the driveway there at the end of the walk, and I know that the other 2, I think, are along the on-plan right-hand side, and then that's a big oak tree. Actually, that was I don't know, perhaps we could save that one. It's all the way over to the left.
to the left, yeah,
To the
there's.
left, yeah, that's pretty far to
this
the
one here.
side. I just,
Sure
I
where
try to
that-
advocate for saving trees when I can.
I'm not sure where that is in relation to the driveway. Have to kind of look into that.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to saving any of them, but I think, just given what we're trying to do and moving it forward towards the road, I think it, like, visually looking at it, and I'm trying to also, right now it's, non-conforming on the left side. If you're looking at it from the street.
Okay.
We want to shift it so it is conforming, and then go up. And the way some of those trees and their canopies fall, I think the way I'm raising it, it's
I see.
creating a problem. So that-
Because it is shifting away from that one cedar that's on the left-hand side, but if you're saying it's,
Yeah, just like, because none of these trees appear to have been maintained or groomed ever, so a lot of the canopy is all these trees seem to kind of envelop the lot and where I would potentially have the house going up from there, so. I would love, I love trees just as much as anybody here probably, so I would love to save them as well, but I don't know if it's feasible.
Okay.
What the plan is, so.
But if you
I mean,
can,
But if I
yeah,
can, I
yeah.
certainly would, yes.
Since that one oak is that a 36-inch oak? So it says 36 oak, is that what they?
I know the oak that's on that side it's like a 3-part tree.
Yeah, it has three
Two of them are like,
trunks.
they're
Yeah, not-
like broken off.
Not that one, the one that's,
On the other
Um,
side?
yeah, on the other side.
Yeah, that's a good size oak.
And that one
over
hangs
there.
over the top of the house.
Okay. So maybe
I mean, I
instead
could
of just
potentially
planting-
limb some of them too, but I don't know how that would affect the growth of what's left.
So if that one has to come out, maybe instead of planting all eastern red cedars, you could replant whatever species of oak
Sure,
it is?
yeah, I'm open to that, absolutely.
There's actually another oak on the neighboring property that will still be
Right,
there.
yeah.
There's sort
Yeah,
of
there's-
two
yeah,
right
that's
next to
right,
each other,
that's
yeah.
correct,
But the one on your side does
Yeah, it hangs
go
right
right
over,
over the
yeah.
house, yeah.
That one?
Kind of see it tucked behind. This isn't the best angle, but
Right.
you can see it is a very wide diameter.
Yeah,
oak.
it's big. Does anyone in the public, in the audience or on Zoom have any comments?
There's one comment in the picture.
Oh, hi.
I'm one of the abutters. I just wanted to know if,
I'm sorry, could you give us your name and address, please?
Elizabeth Jordan, 298 Canal Street.
And you need a microphone.
Still one at the podium?
Yeah, no, there isn't one at the podium.
Oh, thanks. Okay, yep. Want me to repeat myself?
Please.
Elizabeth Jordan, 298 Canal Street. I had just a couple of questions. One is, when you raise the house and move it forward, do you know how many feet forward are you going to be going? I couldn't tell from the plan.
I think
Yeah, if you put the proposed,
it's roughly 14 feet moving the house forward towards the road.
yeah,
Okay.
that's
But
also
then the deck
moving.
is gonna end roughly 2 feet closer to the road than where the back of the house currently sits. So it'll just be it'll be the sonotubes and posts
In the back of the house?
in the back, kind of where the house ends currently.
Okay.
That's the plan. But
And it's going to be open?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, okay. Yep, that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay. All right, if there's no other comments,
Talk about conservation benefits.
do we want to add that to the site plan? Yeah, so the 4 conservation markers, will need to be added to the site plan.
Okay. Basically like a wooden post, like a 4x4 wooden post that just says like, you know, no more activity beyond this
Exactly.
point. Once we get everything all reestablished and so in the future, no one goes in and does any further work.
Yeah,
Yes.
And then could you add oak, one species of oak to the
Sure,
planting
absolutely.
schedule?
okay, I am going to move, to close the hearing then, and issue order of conditions.
Commissioner Platt.
Yes,
Since there's no DEP number issued,
Oh, right.
we would have to continue technically to the next
okay,
meeting,
Okay.
and then we can close it at that meeting.
all right,
Just since there's no DEP number issued from the state, we technically can't close the hearing.
what's the next meeting?
The next meeting is, I believe it's December 4th.
December 4th.
Yep.
Okay. All right, so I move to continue the hearing to the December 4th meeting. Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes our hearings. Now we have new business. First item is recreational trails and the winter mountain bike race.
For this part, I'd like to have Jeff and Mark come up. because
Mhm.
they've been,
Sure.
Making out the course, lining it, and they can give you more specifics on that.
You're becoming a regular.
Hi, how you doing? Jeff Wilson, 26 Noel Road. This is a winter mountain bike fundraiser for the senior center and RTC. The course there is approximately 2 miles. That's the course right there. It basically uses everything except for the trail over by the tractor and the Buick. And the section with the arrow I sent to Mike that needs to be trimmed back, it's basically just tall grass. The trail's on the map. Basically just needs to be mowed once we get some rain. Too dry to bring any power equipment up.
Yeah, no, in fact, I heard today that there was a fire on Carolina Hill.
Oh, really?
Oh, was there?
That's it?
I don't know if it was today or, yeah, I
I think someone.
don't know if that's true, but
That might have been
someone,
the other day. I went looking for it actually on my bike. That was at night. And it was from, I think the smoke was from Blue Hills. Because I have a drone. I was going to send it up to see. And it ended up being smoke from Blue Hills.
Okay.
I talked to John Wilson because he has the Widow's Watch. And he went up. He said, I can smell the
couldn't-
smoke, but he couldn't
yeah.
see anything.
well, there's also a fire, I think, in Norwell
There was, yeah.
and one behind Target in Hanover, so, yeah. Okay, I don't have any issues with this. Do any other commissioners have questions, or?
Just out of curiosity, is there a lot of biking on these trails now?
Not really. It's a small system. Some people like, actually one of your neighbors that rides, he may use that as a piece of part of his ride and then cross the street and then go over towards Red Gold and stuff. It was more to keep it compact for the winter. It might be cold. It'd be fat bike tires, so usually 4.5 to 5-inch tire. It's a fun event, more of a fun event. Calling it a race, but it's more of a fun.
When does it take place?
February 2nd.
February,
Sunday.
okay.
And I believe Ned had talked to Carol at the senior center. She's gonna open it up so that you'll have the snack stand, have registration inside. So I think, do we have a snow date? I think the snow date, what was the snow date, Ned?
2 weeks after.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was the 9th, so we're going up to what? 16th, I think. 2/16 would be, in case the parking lot's snow, obviously. The bikes can go in the snow. If it's all ice, then we'd call it off.
Yeah.
If the trails are all ice.
Yeah.
I know fat bikes have studs, but they're trying to say no studded tires for the fact that if they hit your legs, those carbon bits,
Yeah.
you don't want to get hit by those.
Yeah, no, I don't have anything against this, so I guess we will take a vote. I move to approve the winter mountain bike race for February 2nd. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
All right, thank you very much.
I hope you can get it off, and,
With or without snow?
yeah.
Well, I thought we could dress Ned up as Santa Claus. Snowmobiles. If there's too much snow, we can go groom the trail.
Okay.
Maybe it's February, it could be Cupid instead of Santa Claus.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, now we have Couch Beach complaints. There's a couple of things that have been taking place at Couch Beach that are concerning. The first is that a gentleman who I believe lives in Norwell, had his own key and has been accessing it with his car and his dogs. And back in October, we had a couple of complaints. He was not leashing the dogs. It was very troublesome, but Mike has been able to change the lock. Have you done that yet? Or?
Yes, I have. I've obtained the keys today. The copies
Okay.
of the keys. I've obtained the locks a couple days ago, so they are ready to be switched out on that gate. I just have to give keys to the fire
To the
department,
fire and police and
department,
DPW.
etc.
I think, we asked the person with the key to return it, but I don't think that's gonna happen,
Has
so.
not happened.
Yeah, so that lock, that will take care of that person driving in with out-of-control dogs. Now, the vandalism is an ongoing problem here. As you can see, the trees have been spray painted, the porta potty is tipped over. A while back, we had an arrangement with someone to construct something that would secure the porta potties.
I actually just had this conversation with Rob Nerger today.
I thought it was Rob
His
Nerger.
property's in for a certificate of compliance later this meeting.
Yes.
But he followed up just wondering where the approval stood. I forwarded him the meeting minutes that clearly stated it was approved.
We approved
So
it, yes.
yes, that is ready to go in whenever there's manpower and
Okay.
it people are able to install it.
To
Yeah.
install it, great, so, yeah, that might help that. And Ned, did you say that somebody left the fire pit burning unattended?
I did say that, yes.
That's very concerning.
Ned Banks, I'm the chair of the Recreation Trails Committee, and so we have our trail ambassadors that go out each Tuesday to look at different trails. We have a scout group that goes out on Monday. We select a trail, what kind of work needs to be done. This has been an ongoing problem. That was back in September, and the police actually showed up at 10 o'clock at night when the kids were leaving the area. And much like the person that had the dog issue from Norwell, some of these kids were from Norwell, and we know that for a fact because their backpacks, school books that they left, and their homework, and also athletic shirts that said Norwell soccer, Norwell lacrosse. So it's been an ongoing problem there. We were, when we up one day, we had some illegal dumping at Jose Carrero, and then we sent half the group up to Couch Beach. The group saw a couple of gentlemen, college age or older, leaving, and just waved to them. Didn't know until they made it up to the fire pit. The fire pit was still flames. And when we're out there Tuesday, actually, there were several logs, probably 2 to 3 feet in length, that were blackened, that were clearly in a fire pit there. And so the concern is that, we know we've seen the house catch on fire, and the issues out there, and hopefully the rain will come, soon. But that area could have all went up. It's
absolutely.
just dry tinder there, and it's we filled up probably 3 bags of bottles and cans on Tuesday, and it's just a issue right now, and it doesn't ebb and flow to it, so it goes bad for a while, and it straightens up, and it's good for a while. So what the answer is, who knows?
Well, last week, Mike and I were speaking to Mr. Maresco, and we were discussing this, and he said, and I fully agree, we need to get a camera in there somewhere. So I think we need to coordinate maybe with Chief Tavares and figure out what the best way to go about that is. I know the harbor master has cameras installed in some spots around town, so maybe he can assist us also. but even if we could be able to go back and see cars, going into the cemetery, it might help us narrow things down. I know we're never going to be able to control who gets in there by boat, but if we can possibly identify, when the police went there at night, did they get anyone, or?
No, there were vehicles waiting, so parents were presumed were picking up their sons or daughters from being
So
at
they
Couch
got-
Beach
yeah.
at night. Okay, the police didn't know that there was an issue down there until after they went down, and so that was Saturday night. Sunday, I had a phone call from Select Person Kelly, and who's our liaison from the Trails Committee, and I spoke with Eric probably 5 times that week, and, went to look at it Sunday, saw the mess, went back there Monday, went back there Tuesday. Sunday, when I was there, the DPW had been called, and they had a truck down there and 2 guys taking the bulk of the materials, but there was still lots of litter, trash, boxes that were around there, so we spent another 2 days there with about 15 people from our volunteer group, just cleaning up. We now have an agreement with the DPW, thankfully, Sean Patterson, so when we have lots of trash, trail trash, we can call Sean, one of our volunteers can put it in their truck and have free entry into the landfill. So we really appreciate that.
Is there any way to get the paint off the trees?
Not sure what the way. I was going to leave that up to you folks, being much more smarter than I am on removing spray paint from trees. Haven't had that situation yet. So I don't know.
Select Board Member Mr. Kelly is here. Would you like to say anything?
Oh, all right.
I know it's been an ongoing issue. I know that Chief DeVars is fully aware of it. This whole camera thing was a new thing to me. I have concerns in that. You guys are posting cameras. I understand the situation. I think more police visibility up there from time to time might help. I mean, I don't think people would be too happy with seeing cameras up there monitoring themselves. I know I wouldn't be happy. We're all surrounded by cameras. I think going in a place like that, I just don't think it's healthy unless this guy designate one spot for it, maybe, in my opinion. I would like to have more. If that's the way you're going, I would like to see that come before the select board for more discussion in regards to the placement of the camera, to be honest with you. But it's, I know Ned and everybody is crew there doing a fantastic job of keeping up with it and everything.
They do, but it's an incredible time suck for people who are volunteering to, have to repeatedly clean up after vandalism.
Yeah, I don't know if it's, I guess looking at this meeting in regards to the issues that are going on, it would probably, in my opinion, worthy to ask Chief DeVars to attend one of these meetings and give his thoughts in regards to what could be addressed on the police department's end in regards to this and what their thoughts are and everything.
Yeah, I intend to, contact Chief Tavares and discuss, see what his thoughts are regarding this, because vandalism is one thing, but the fire danger really got my attention on this one. That's...
I have a question.
Sure.
Is camping allowed there year-round?
Yes.
Yes.
Fire permits are obtained individually through the fire department. So they get a camping permit through our department. We send that permit out to the police department and the fire departments to let them know that there are people out there that weekend, and also to guide the applicants to obtain a fire permit, which are not being issued right now considering the fire dangers in effect.
So no permits were obtained for,
No, this was certainly not from people obtaining permits through our department for camping.
okay.
Okay, well, I think, Mike, you and I need to speak with Chief Tavares, Mr. Maresco, and get a feel for what action we may be able to take here.
Perfect.
Yeah, also maybe question the chief, you know, apparently they have caught a few people, but it doesn't seem like there's been any charges. Might encourage them to at least get restitution
Yeah,
if these things are going on.
gonna keep happening.
And then, I very rarely go in there by road, I go by boat. That is pretty much the only way in there through the gate, or are there various trails people can take to get in?
Yeah, so there's three ways to access it: by boat, by the trail near the front of the cemetery that has a lock on it, and also in the rear of the cemetery. There's another trail back there. It's a walking trail. You can't have a vehicle enter that way, but there are numerous campsites out there. Our belief is that we should limit the number of campsites and potential fire pits there. There's probably, I can think of 4 or 5, and each time that we've been out there, we've dismantled them, because we'd rather, it seems to make sense to have one central unit than
Right, the one
have
big
people
one in.
spread out.
Yeah,
So, I mean, when you meet with the chief, I'd be happy to lend some, boots on the ground intel that we have from there, and, be a part of that. One thought would be on the lock, if the lock can be a combination lock that can be reset each time someone leaves, because right now, if Mike's great enough to change a new lock on it, but if the person that has that key decides this is fun and I'll make a copy of it, gives the original back, and then we have the same problem with that.
Right, we
Those
have
folks from Norwell. So there's
I don't know, the first responders have to.
the
have a
first
way to get
responders
in.
have to be able to get in.
Well, right, and they would have to be updated to, what the combination is, and DPW is in there every, I think, twice a week, picking up trash, so they would have to know. But that would stop that, those folks in the future that would make a copy of the key and just pass it out to whoever.
Is there such a thing as a lock that can be both combination, but a master key to
I can look into that.
override a combination? And then, yeah,
I can look into that. I know that they have combination locks that you can regularly change out the combination and set a new one. I'd have to look into one if there's one that also has a key that you could use as well. But that could be a really good idea, where the first responders could always have the same
they would
key.
always have a key.
They don't have to wonder what the
Right.
password is this week when there's a fire in
Right, and we
Couch
could
Beach.
change the combo at will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other point I wanted to make, I asked about the ways in, because I can see the point about not having cameras down where people are trying to enjoy the beach. But if those are the only 2 ways in, to have cameras at those locations, I don't think that's infringing on anybody's privacy. We've already got cameras like that at Damon's Point, Town Pier.
Mhm.
I think there's another one down by Peter Igo somewhere.
Mhm.
So it's not something that doesn't exist.
Yeah. The folks at Hanover Lock could probably answer that question, that the town has.
Hanover Lock?
Yeah.
We'll give them a call.
53. They have an account, we have an account with that group.
Okay. Well, I'm glad Mr. Nerger is apprised of the fact that he can now do whatever the plan was, just
Yes.
better secure the porta potties. And we'll talk with the police and get some
Yeah.
feedback here.
Get a meeting on the books.
Yeah, and we'll let you know.
Okay,
So
very good.
we can be there. Okay.
Super.
I think
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll see if I can figure out how to get paint off trees.
Yes.
Time.
Yeah. Okay, that concludes the new business. Under old business, we have the Dyke Road discussion, which I am going to continue to 12:04. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have the land donation from Mr. Albanese. Did you hear back from town council?
I have not heard back from town council. Town council wanted to review the paperwork sent in by Mr. Albanese to give his opinion on whether the commission should accept them or not. We did walk these parcels, myself and Mr. Albanese. I did not identify any hazard trees. I know that was a concern of the commission last time this came through, especially with this parcel. I wasn't sure of the boundaries of the parcel, and there were some tall, dead white pines near this area. I confirmed that they were not actually on this parcel and do not pose a risk to that house within close proximity. There is one hazard tree on this lot, G12 1815. I circled the rough area of where it's located. It's the top is snapped off, and it's just a fairly sizable trunk standing and dead, and that would likely have to be cut before the town would assume responsibility for that parcel. And then
Excuse me, is that going to land on anything? Is there anything that tree can damage in that?
it could, if there was a car parked here, or even they wouldn't technically supposed to be parking on this lot if it was owned by the Conservation Commission, but it's feasible that somebody could have their car located on there and not know.
Okay.
Then at which point then that could cause damage to the property. And then this lot, surrounded by conservation and town-owned land, no issues here.
Okay, so what we need to know is the nitrogen loading restrictions, and we need to hear that
Yes.
from town council.
Yeah, I spoke to
we
town
can.
council today, and he would like to, he wanted to review the nitrogen loading restrictions and just give his opinion regarding whether or not the commission should vote to
Should
accept
vote
these.
to accept, okay. So I am going to move to table that to December 4th, pending information from Attorney Galvin. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And now we are on Dog Lane, where Mr. Martina, I see Mr. Martina is on Zoom.
Yes,
Good evening.
good evening.
So I guess my first question is, did the erosion control blanket get placed today?
Yes, it did. I sent over a picture to Mike earlier.
Okay. What is the situation with hay bales, Mike? Are they satisfactory at this point?
There are a number of hay bales along the western portion, as you can see by this picture here to the left. They've just pretty much disintegrated. They're decomposing. It's a question whether they're really even structurally sound to hold back sediment. Additionally, they're pushing up on this wire back silt fence here. As you can see, it's bowing out in several locations. Obviously, if there's a large storm, we get a lot of rain, those hay bales become soaked, there's erosion building up behind them. We could see the potential for that silt fence and the hay bales to collapse, which is the necessity to replace those hay bales along the western portion, which also is the 50-foot setback. Here we can see this is outside of the 100. I did speak to Mr. Martina about putting a hay bale here. That wasn't done. You can see that there's some erosion slowly making its way down this hill. That's not great. That's outside of the 100 50-foot buffer, but nothing's being done to address that. And then here was picture of the erosion of the sediment pile this morning. It's since been covered up with that siltation blanket, as Mr. Martina mentioned. One requirement was that there had to be 10 3-inch diameter at breast height trees planted along that 50-foot setback. There were trees acquired and planted this growing season. However, they are far shorter and smaller than the 3 inches at breast height. In fact, they don't really they don't reach your chest level at all. They're more
whips.
like knee, hip
They're
level.
whips.
Yeah.
Just one
Yeah.
whip.
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. So I believe that on October 29th, the question of replacing hay bales was put in front of you, and nothing has happened. The trees are, you've had a long time to plant trees, and now you've planted a couple of tiny whips. The purpose of those trees is to stabilize that bank. That is for the benefit of the resource area. It is also for your benefit. I don't understand why it is so hard to do these things. We're not asking you for any heavy lift. We're asking you to meet your orders of conditions, which required the trees and the erosion control. You were also asked on October 29th to clear that eroded material that is causing the silt fence to bow out now. I don't know what to say. Why are these tasks not being completed?
I'd have to say it's not more of the task not being completed, it's more of, I think me and Mike are coming together, we're gonna meet next week and kind of point out directly. It's kind of going through emails, and what he sees and what I see, somewhere along the lines gets kind of.
Well, I've seen every email that you've seen, and I don't see what's unclear about any of them. We're now going into the winter. It's too late to plant the trees that should have been planted this early this fall. And it really, I just don't understand your reluctance to do what you're supposed to be doing. So I know you're going to meet with Mike. I believe John Zimmer. I am hoping to attend that meeting. It shouldn't be necessary, but if that's what it takes, that's what it takes. Obviously, we can't plant this year, but in the spring, you know, you've lost 6 months on getting a certificate of compliance from us, because once you plant those trees, there's going to be a minimum 2 years of monitoring before we release this. So it behooves you to do what you need to do to meet the orders of conditions.
Correct.
So we will meet this week.
Yes.
And I don't know how to make things any more clear to you, Mr. Martina. It's not rocket science. But
No, it's not.
we'll discuss at a meeting, hopefully this week. I'm glad the erosion control blanket is down before the rain that is coming. And I hope what is there holds. Okay. That's enough. We'll talk when we meet.
All right.
Thank you for
Thank you.
being on. Okay, that concludes the business. I'm gonna do the continuations now. The first is RDA 2443, the Arapaugh Family Trust at 829A Old Main Street. We are continuing that to January 8th, 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 423110, 0 Main Street, is continuing to December 4th. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And as per our conversation with Matt, the Town of Marshfield DPW ditch clearing, I am continuing to January. I don't have the new calendar. What is the second meeting in January? Is it
I
22nd?
believe
the 22nd?
Well, the first one's the 8th, right? Does that make sense, the 8th?
yes, because
Yes,
the
because
first meeting would
New
be
Year's.
Okay, yeah.
We're tweaking the
So
calendar.
is that a
bit.
Thursday
It would
then,
be
or
the 22nd.
No, it should be a
Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay.
The 22nd.
Wednesday, the 22nd.
Okay, I'm moving to continue the Town of Marshfield DPW ditch clearing to January 22nd. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so on to certificates of compliance. The first is 44 Bayberry Road.
Oh, I see what
So, everything,
I took a look at this property. There's some question whether or not the pavement that was laid down was actually pervious.
pervious?
They had proposed gravel. I took a look at the site and it's repurposed asphalt. As you can see here, there's zero. It's not pervious at all.
It's not pervious.
Yep, and also the orders of condition did in fact require them to have 3 conservation markers in the back, and that was not done as well. So they,
Okay.
I'm not sure how the commission would like to handle the impervious driveway there.
Well,
You
it
should come in and
appears to not be an impervious driveway. I think reclaimed asphalt is
Yeah,
not pervious,
yeah.
so that's gotta come out. And be replaced with a pervious material. So, we are not going to issue this COC. This isn't gonna get fixed super soon either, so I'm,
Table it until the driveway's removed.
Was the driveway
Continue.
originally,
yeah.
was it being pervious required? I know it was part of the plan, and what was the reasoning for it?
It wasn't noted in the meeting minutes. I took the liberty of taking the meeting minutes from that meeting and putting it up here. But it wasn't, the porosity of the driveway wasn't necessarily discussed here. It was discussed that the conservation marker should be in place, and it was proposed that the driveway would be constructed of gravel.
I just feel as
It's
if that's
not always the case that every driveway materials that come in front of the commission is discussed thoroughly.
I just feel as if that's a large expense, potentially maybe mitigation in lieu of that or something.
So this is in flood zone, buffer zone to salt marsh, and land subject to coastal storm flowage. We generally, well, it's not, no Barrier Beach coastal dune.
It's not Barrier
Well,
Beach.
a lot of times we'll look at the table, right, and see how much coverage there is.
Coverage there is?
Yeah.
Do we
that
have
on the
them?
plan, Mike?
I don't believe so. Let me try to find that quickly.
I'm just trying to think from like a. that's a large
Yeah,
expense.
no, I agree, it's just,
Oh, if we've got coverage, take a look at that.
Yeah.
well, we have to wait on this anyway because
Yeah.
the conservation
Yep.
markers aren't there. So, oh, there it is.
Yes, there is an impervious table.
Rotate it.
Oh, actually, no. Yes, at the bottom here.
Can't see that.
We'll have to compare it to what was proposed originally.
Okay, Well, we'll take a closer look at
Okay.
that, and perhaps, yeah, good point, based on the coverage. But we're still gonna need the conservation markers, so, I'm going to continue that, we'll continue it to, December 4th, and see where we are then. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I've learned, by the way, that when you table something, technically, it has to be addressed at the next meeting. When you continue something, you can continue to whenever. So I'm gonna try to stay away from the term table. I watched the last meeting, and I know you had a discussion about tabling. So I did a little homework on Robert's Rules of Order. And tabling means tabled to the next meeting.
And basically, if we continue, if there's no action on it, we really don't even need to discuss
To
it.
discuss it, yeah. Okay, SE 42 2993, 17 West Street.
Yes, the applicant has received a certificate of occupancy, which is what held this one up at the last meeting. So this one is all set to be issued a complete certificate of compliance.
Okay, I move to issue a COC on SE 42 2993, 17 West Street. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. SE 42 2948, 85 Rockport Street. So I went out there this morning. Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Mike.
I spoke to the homeowner the other day. I informed him that the patio had been built in not the correct spot. It was proposed to be set further back away from the wetlands and was built practically touching the wetlands. I informed him of this issue. It seems like, without putting words in his mouth, it seems like he may be open to some sort of planting or something like that. He ultimately said that he would talk to his representative and get back to us.
Okay.
So that's where this project currently stands.
Yeah, I was out there this morning, and the patio is actually, I think, crosses over the 25. Conservation marker here and a conservation marker, and it's a very strange property.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so I move to continue 85 Rockport to December 4th. Second, please.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 42 3066, 201 Ridge Road. I think this one's okay.
Yes.
I move to issue a COC. Second, please.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. SE 42 3005, 76 Maycomer's Way. Everything here is in compliance. I move to issue the COC. A second, please.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
SE 420449. Okay, that's an oldie. And this is the one, no work was ever done?
Yep, the house was built under a different permit, so this one is an invalid.
So I move to declare SE 420449 invalid. Second, please.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 422972, 113 Bayberry Road. What can you tell us about this, Mike?
So, there were a few discrepancies between what was proposed and what was actually built on this site. Firstly, there's a split rail fence that runs along the top of this revetment here. That wasn't necessarily proposed. It is split rail, allows for the passage of wildlife, and is fairly non-intrusive. There is some stonework going up to the front house, including a few granite slabs, a stone retaining wall, a small walkway here that was constructed to be pervious, as well as this pervious patio here. There's a dirt driveway going up to the actual addition that was permitted with this garage and deck here. Additionally, I spoke with the homeowner today about this project and the Couch Beach project. There was some spoils from the construction of these stone retaining walls that were just kind of tossed on top of the existing revetment around there. It didn't largely change the shape of the revetment or anything like that, but I believe it could be in the commission's best interest to capture that on the as-built site plan, especially on this northwestern portion of the property there, where nothing is depicted, but there are certainly some stones in that area.
So I think we need an updated site plan to reflect all of those things. The
Yes.
split rail fence, I mean, I don't think any of them are deal breakers,
Yeah.
but they need to be reflected there.
The split rail fence and the additional stonework in the front is reflected here in the site plan. However, this section of the revetment is not, so that would have to be captured.
Does anybody have anything to say about addition to that revetment? I don't know what was there, and, you know, I don't know what's
Yeah.
there now, so I don't know how big an impact.
Try to pull up some pictures here.
And this came to us as a violation by,
This actually came to us as a certificate of compliance request. We
But-
did originally receive reports from the building department regarding changes to that revetment. I was looking into it, and then we received the certificate of compliance request.
okay. Well, at the very least, we need those changes reflected on the plan. And it, from what you're saying to me, it sounds like it's relatively minor.
There was some existing stone there before. I can, if the commission's interested, I could take some satellite imagery over the last few years and show the progression of that revetment wall in the backyard there.
Yeah, see if that was existing.
Yeah.
I mean, part of that may even be from the construction of Julian Street Bridge.
Yeah.
You know, that's right there.
Yeah, if you could get some historical images there, that would help us to see what's really taking place. So, I think the main concern here is whatever has happened to the revetment, and
Yeah.
we need to confirm that. So, okay, I'm going to move to continue this to December 4th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 0 Ferry Street,
If I may. The shellfish mitigation has not been confirmed for this one. I reached out to the harbor master. He has no issues with navigability. There was a small change, well, there was a change similar to the last neighboring dock on Ferry Street there, where the contractor constructed the ramp 10 feet longer than proposed and the dock 10 feet shorter than proposed, so that the incline to and from the float wouldn't be too steep. The harbor master has no issues with navigability. It's within the same footprint, doesn't go further into the river. However, there is that piece about the shellfish mitigation that's still up in the air. So I will reach out to the applicant and request that evidence of shellfish mitigation is provided to the commission.
well, additionally, no floodplain permit was ever issued, nor was any building permit ever issued, which is required by the ZBA variance. So, this has a number of issues. So I'm going to move to continue this to, well, we'll put it on December 4th, but I hate having these things pile up, but I don't know, once they come in
Well,
with the
do we
request.
have to continue to a date certain? Or,
I think if we have to have a date certain.
okay.
I mean, I could push it much further, I could
If we don't
push it.
have the information, or
Yeah,
we don't necessarily have to, 'cause that's what you were saying before, right? We don't actually have to discuss it,
no, but we have to,
but we have to have a date.
that it's gonna be. And this will potentially, I don't know how fast this can be resolved.
I'm not certain either.
We need the shellfish mitigation is not a big
That-
deal,
that's-
but
You'll have to talk to Andrew and see. I don't know if this was quite a while ago. Was this
Yeah.
before we were doing floodplain permits
This
all
was
the time?
before we
Because-
had the system going that we have now,
Yeah, I mean,
where
he had it in front of the
part of our
CBA,
checklist.
so I'm not sure why they didn't,
yeah.
well, Andrew's comments are, please do not grant a COC for this permit. They have still not even been issued a floodplain permit, a required zoning permit for an NOI, and because they have not ever applied for a building permit for the structure, which was a condition of the ZBA special permit and variance. They should not have been allowed to start the project without a building permit and a floodplain permit, let alone complete it without either of those or any inspections. So, the only thing Andrew has is the zoning certificate for the Chapter 91 license. So we need to coordinate here and
Yes.
see
This
what.
is not gonna be.
I'll touch base with Andrew.
No, this is not gonna be December 4th, quite right. Let's go to, what's the first meeting in February?
Let me check on that. The first meeting in
think, is it the
February
5th?
is February 5th. That's
Okay.
correct.
I'm going to move to continue this to February 5th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And our last one is the town of Marshfield, Wrexham Beach. They want an extension. There is concern about beach nourishment money. So they are, this is a vote to extend the beach nourishment permit that is in existence for Wrexham and the Bay Avenue areas of town. If the MBTA zoning article doesn't pass at town meeting, we are likely to lose nourishment funding. So the town is trying to get out a bit ahead of that and use some of the time on this permit before that happens. So I move to extend SC 422968, Town of Marshfield, Wrexham Beach. And when we extend these, it's for
3 years.
3 years.
Yep.
So I move to extend this permit for 3 years. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That concludes our business. I move to close the meeting of the Marshfield Conservation Commission for January 20th, 2024. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.